I jumped the girls one. I wanted to jump the girls one to just kind of gauge where I was at, and then I would do the boys one. Because I've never jumped a hurdle before. And I had 2 hurdles. I was able to jump the first hurdle, and then as I was going towards the second hurdle, I had to stop. I managed to hurt my back a little bit. Welcome back. It's a brand new episode. This is Laugh With Me, a podcast with Jeremy Odem. I'm your host, J.O. Oh, man, it is good to be back. Here's the deal. If you can't tell, I got a little pep in my step today. Do you feel that way when you get just a little bit of exercise? And you know what? I got more than just a little bit of exercise. I don't know about you. But today, I ran 3/4 of a mile and didn't stop running. Never stop. 3/4 of a mile, half of a mile. This is just, a little behind the scenes for you, okay? Behind the scenes, a little BTS for you. One of my goals for, get back in shape and just kind of ease my way into it. You guys know, Crohn's disease is really taking its toll on me. Energy-wise, I was pretty anemic there for quite a while. No energy, tough to get through the day, taking a whole heck of a lot of naps. I'll tell you what, didn't take one nap today. I didn't even take a nap yesterday, now that I think about it. So, we've got a streak going. So I'm feeling pretty good. Thing is, I had a goal for by the end of the summer, I'd be able to run half a mile, so 2 laps around a track without stopping running, just going. That's how down and out I've been, okay? Let's just, a little peek behind the curtain. That's how down and out I've been. Went running today. Kids are in track, so we were like, all right, well, let's go practice throwing the disc. They both throw disc. And it's like, let's run a couple laps. Let's see what's up. And I'm like, you know what? This would be a good gauge for me and see how far around the track I can go before I just need to walk. I need to stop. I need to catch my breath. Catch my breath. I went 3/4 of a mile, okay? And that's when I called it. I just said, you know what? I think I've done enough here. I think I'm good. I even, you know what? I stretched before. I'm not a big stretch before things guy. And at my age, I probably should, or at least know better. Which might be why my thighs are killing me now. That was this morning. Killing me. A little tight. I've been trying to stretch them, and then I can feel it in my groin. I've never had known the feeling of an athlete gets a groin pull, and it's funny, the groin pull. I've never had the feeling. Today, as I'm stretching to try to get the thighs so tight, I felt it hit the groin. Johnny, you ever had a pulled groin? No, it's not what I meant, buddy. Not what I meant. You're not, and you're a runner. Johnny's a runner. We should go running sometime. I'm good for 3/4 of a mile. And then I need take a break. Who knows? Maybe I could have gone further. It was just one of those things where I'm like, you know what? I think I did it. Half a mile was my goal for the end of summer. I've accomplished it at the beginning of spring. On the first day. So I probably need to challenge myself a little more. Maybe I've been making strides and making steps to getting back into shape and did not even know it. But I was pretty impressed. I also tried jumping a hurdle. I've never jumped a hurdle before. I did. I was able to jump one. So the girls and the boys, they have different sizes, right? The boys one's I don't know. What was it? 3 inches taller is what it looked like. I jumped the girls one. I wanted to jump the girls one to just kind of gauge where I was at, and then I would do the boys one. because I've never jumped a hurdle before. And I had 2 hurdles. I was able to jump the first hurdle. And then as I was going towards the second hurdle, I had to stop. I managed to hurt my back a little bit. And I don't know, I think when I landed on my left foot, I could just feel it shoot, like shooting up my body. And so I didn't do any more hurdles. That was enough jumping around for me today. Wild. Did a bunch of laundry. It's been a busy day, okay? I'll tell you what, though. No naps. No naps for the underdog. Did you read this article? Laugh with me. Johnny, we had an article written about us. I'll tell you. Here. I'm not going to read the whole article. You guys got to check it out. It's on USA News and a whole bunch of other places. Podcast with Jeremy Odem, an underdog story of a grocery store manager turned comedian. That's me. Johnny, I don't even think it mentioned you. But anyway, there's a lot of good things in the article. They talk about kind of how we started the pod, some things that I did before I got into this, some of the comedy stuff. Talk about Thong Song, of course, right? But there's a whole paragraph on this. I'm going to read this little excerpt here. In addition to his podcasting achievements, Odem's background as a pepper spray attack survivor has also shaped his unique perspective on life. Despite facing challenges that would have derailed many others, he continues to rise and share his story, along with the stories of others, through his comedy. I know last week with Eric, we talked a little about the pepper spray, but that part right there, that is my favorite part. The entire article. To call out the pepper spray. I mean, it's a day I'll never forget. I can tell you that much. A day I'll never forget. Well, that's pretty cool. It's notable because we have had a few successes recently. Johnny, Laugh With Me just hit a new peak position on the comedy charts on iTunes. We are now the 57th most popular comedy podcast on iTunes. Thank you, Johnny. You can stop that laugh. You can stop that. Thank you, Johnny. Johnny, he's like the more the show like climbs the charts, he feels like he's invincible. What have you been doing this weekend, Johnny? It's been pretty freaking busy for me, man. Worked a little bit. Not in comedy. This was making the pizzas. I was making the pizzas. At the gas station. It was a busy Saturday morning breakfast pizzas, I can tell you that much. Played a lot of basketball. Been playing a lot of hoops lately, actually. Getting work at. So I'm right-handed, but when I was younger, for whatever reason, I taught myself to shoot left-handed. So I shoot with both. I can do left, I can go right. Which in high school, when I played a lot of basketball, that was handy for my game. I could go left, I could go right. You couldn't just back me into a corner. As I got older and I didn't play basketball, really ever, I'm not as dominant to the left as I used to be. I could go right a little bit better now because it's my dominant side, but I'm starting to play a little more, get my left going again. But what I'm finding is I actually shoot pretty good with my right hand. Maybe I screwed up all those years ago. And when I was teaching myself to shoot left, I should have just been focusing on the right. It turns out I'm not that bad. So yeah, playing a lot of hoops. A lot of around. I'm not playing pickup games or anything. I'm not in a rec league. I mean, I'm in the driveway playing around the world, playing some 21, physical games. Watching the White Lotus. Here's what people say. If you love the White Lotus, you know why. You know why. The people who don't like the White Lotus, they're like, it's boring. The story doesn't go anywhere. No, they're all boring. Every single episode of every single season of the White Lotus on Max is boring. That's what it is. But the stories are interesting. They just are. The characters themselves, super interesting. They always get into, they're always getting into trouble while on vacation. It's a fascinating show. We're getting in deep here on season 3, so I'm trying to catch up. But I've been watching a lot of White Lotus. Very much enjoying it. That Mike White is a psychopath. He's the guy that he's created it, and he writes them. He absolute psychopath. But yeah, you check it out. HBO Max, whatever you want to call it. And you know what? That's the thing about Max. They wanted to get away from calling it HBO Max, right? It was HBO Max. They want to call it Max. They changed the color scheme and everything. It was just called Max. Why can't you just call it HBO? Well, now they've changed the colors back to the HBO color scheme, which is like the black and the gray. But then it's still Max. Just be HBO. Everybody knows the HBO brand, and it's brilliant. People will be more attached to it and have more memory and feeling towards it if it was called HBO. If you guys are listening, come talk to me. I'll help you out with that. Watching a lot of White Lotus. Baseball season started, so I've been watching a lot of San Diego Padre baseball. I'll tell you what, you can't have a better start than the Padres did. 7-0. And you say, yeah, you can. You could be the Dodgers and be 8-0. That is true as well, Johnny. That is true as well. But you know what? As a Padre fan, the best start in franchise history, 7-0, until we went to Chicago and ran into a buzzsaw there. I blame the cold. You can't play baseball at a professional level in cold-ass, windy weather. It's not right. We lost the series, lost 2 of the 3. But, winning Sunday was big. But, man, we're on such a tear. Opening up 7 straight games at home to start the season really got the Pods going. Taking down just we were straight up putting teams in their place. The Braves may never be the same after having to play 4 games with us to start the season. They just never be the same the rest of the year. They just might not. Padres. What else did I do this weekend? Laundry. Shoot, every weekend, man. Every weekend. I do like 6 to 7 loads of laundry probably between everyone. And then the towels, But here's something and don't make fun of me. I've been thinking more about this than I probably should. Johnny, you look this up, please, Johnny, and then we'll know the answer. Because I haven't looked it up, but I've been thinking about it, hoping I could come up with the answer on my own. I know how the washing machine works. I know it goes through its cycles, the water and the soap and then the rinse and all that. It's tumbling around. I understand how it knows when the clothes are clean because it's going through cycles in a process there. Okay? I understand all that. What I don't understand is when you take the wet clothes at varying levels of being wet and you put them in the dryer, that the dryer then knows when all the clothes are dry. Because you could have sopping wet pieces of garment you put in the dryer. You could have just a few pieces. You could have a lot of pieces. And they're going to run through its cycle, right? It's timed. Like I'm looking at a countdown on the dryer. It knows when the clothes are going to be dry. How, Johnny, does it know when the clothes are going to be dry? Can you look that up, please? I've been thinking about this way too much this weekend. And part of me is like, you're an idiot, Jeremy. You're an absolute idiot. This answer, whatever it is going to be way too obvious for you. And then another part of me is like, hey, maybe I'm onto something. Like maybe there's some science to it that no one really thinks about. We just take it for granted that we put the clothes in the dryer and then it just knows when everything's dry. And you know what? Sometimes they're not all the way dry. Okay, and then you got to run it again. But it doesn't take as long this time. And then sometimes I got to take the little, the lint out of the little lint trap, and that helps. All right, Johnny. How does the dryer know when clothes are dry? The most common type of sensor is the moisture sensor, which measures the amount of moisture in the air. As the clothes dry, the moisture in the air decreases, and the sensor will detect this change in moisture levels and signal the dryer to stop. So it's just like a moisture signal. All right, that wasn't as cool as I thought it would be.
Rose is your name, but when you poop it sure don't smell like roses. Your number 2 burns the hair in my nose, but we fought hand in paw. Now your poop don't stink at all. Now that the air is clear, I'll treasure your front and rear, my sweet Rose.
Instantly neutralize poop stink with Poop Fighter from World's Best Cat Litter for the world's best cat.